It's okay to self-isolate. We do it all the time, but when you're in a position like this where you feel like you took 2 steps forwards and 5 steps back, it's just important to remember that life has its twists and turns, and we don't really understand why, but at the end of the day, it's always going to work out for you. So don't lose hope, don't give up, regardless of where you are right now. Whether you just got out of this funk and you got a new job, or you went to a new city, or you broke up with your abusive partner, okay? There's a lot. But just remember that at the end of the day, everything is going to be okay. You may not understand why you're going through this now. You may not understand why this is happening to you. And it may be the most devastating thing in the world. However, you are stronger than you look. You are going to learn from this. You are going to apply this in the near future. And when all is said and done, in your old age, you are going to be happy with where you are.
Hello and welcome to Kitchen Table Advice. My name is Paula and I am the host of this podcast. This podcast is a place where you can ask for any advice you want. It can be relationship, both platonic or romantic, career advice, or life advice. I wanted to create a space where people could ask questions without fear of rejection. I can't guarantee it'll be good advice, but I can guarantee there'll be no shame on my end. Your name will be anonymous and your identity will always be kept a secret. This is not professional advice, and I am not a licensed therapist or psychologist, and you are under no obligation to take this advice. Just think of this as advice you would get from a close friend on a kitchen table. So, let's begin.
Hello, my wonderful gems. How are you? I hope you're doing amazing. If you're a returning gem, welcome back. If you're new here, hello, how are you doing? Make sure you set out the vibe, and if you like what you're listening to, then please feel free to give this video a like and subscribe to this channel. And as usual, we just jump into the first story of the episode. The title of the first story is, this was very interesting, so it caught my eye. How to reintegrate into society after self-isolating due to a layoff. Alright, so let's jump in. Hello, I'm having a dilemma. I got laid off earlier this year and it spiraled into a deep depression and self-isolation. I spent all my time applying to jobs and doing interviews, but definitely isolated myself from all my friends and stuff. I was super broke and depressed and felt like a burden. I also felt a lot of shame that I couldn't hang out and do stuff with my friends. I felt like my life was very much on hold. I finally managed to land a new job, parentheses, started last week, congratulations, and starting to feel a little better about my situation and getting my life back on track. I'm making more than I was before and I'm excited about the job. The issue I'm having now is that my social anxiety seems to have gotten worse. I don't know how to get back into socializing. I dropped all my hobbies while I was laid off and I just spent all my time locked up in my apartment. I feel invisible. I feel an invisible force is holding me back now, and I don't know how to reconnect with my friends because I fear everyone has moved on and forgotten about me or given up on me. I climb out of the fog only to be hit with a profound feeling of loneliness. Can you please give me an advice on this? And if you've ever gone through a similar thing, how did you get back out there? I live in a huge city and there are many things I want to do. It just feels foreign and weird. I guess I'm afraid. Wow. I'm just going to dive into the advice, and first I want to tell you you're not alone. A lot of people do self-isolate for multiple reasons, and it does seem like your reason was because you thought your life was on hold, that everyone else is moving forward while you were stagnant, which is completely understandable. I think just call your friends and see what's up. You'll actually be surprised how many people are willing to engage with you if you do reach out. I'm sure, a lot of people have gone through a similar thing. I've gone through a similar thing, and I'm sure a lot of people have gone through a similar thing where you just feel so ashamed of where you are right now. And it may not necessarily be something to be ashamed of, but in your mind, you've projected yourself to be in a certain place at a certain time, and you're not there yet, so you just feel ashamed. I think it's also a good time to remind ourselves that it takes time. I'm sure you heard of this. Life takes time. Life takes twists and turns. Sometimes you're going through the path that you are. Sometimes you're going on the path that you've planned for yourself, but other times you might be on hold, you might need a detour. We don't really know, but things happen in life and not everything is going to go according to plan. And just because it does not go according to plan does not mean you're not enough, you're not worthy, or you're being held back, or any of these notions we think. I've gone through it. I'm pretty sure most people have. So I really want to tell you, you are not alone in this feeling. And a lot of people might actually be able to relate to you on this specific aspect of not feeling like you're moving in life, feeling like you're stagnant, feeling like everyone else is passing you by and your life is just placed on hold. It kind of happens to all of us. So a good way to just get out of this funk is, I would just tell you, call your friends, just see what's up, call them and greet. They might, they might be like, hey, where have you been? And if you feel like you're up to it, you can confide in them, or you don't have to if you don't want to. You can just tell them you were in a bad place and you didn't really feel like having people around, and that it's not their fault, but it was just like you were dealing with a lot at the time and you needed to self-isolate. You can just explain it to them like that. So I would just say, just call your friends and try to rekindle that friendship. And since you live in a big city, and you said there are a lot of stuff to do, just try different stuff you've ever wanted to try but couldn't because you were laid off. Maybe you just felt you were laid off, you were anxious. Just try all these fun stuff that are happening in your cities. I know big cities tend to have different events on a weekly basis, so just try any one of those and just go in there and just socialize with people. Try your best to socialize. Just a simple hey, how are you, or complimenting something, or complimenting someone's outfit can be an easy way for you to kind of ease back up into society. But yeah, that is the focus of my advice. And again, you're not alone. Like, if this is you or you're going through a similar thing, it's okay to self-isolate. But I mean, it's okay to self-isolate. We do it all the time. But when you're in a position like this where you feel like you took 2 steps forwards and 5 steps back, it's just important to remember that life has its twists and turns, and we don't really understand why, but at the end of the day, it's always going to work out for you. So don't lose hope, don't give up, regardless of where you are right now. Whether you just got out of this funk and you got a new job, or you went to a new city, or you broke up with your abusive partner. Okay, there's a lot, but just remember that at the end of the day, everything is going to be okay. You may not understand why you're going through this now. You may not understand why this is happening to you, and it may be the most devastating thing in the world. However, you are stronger than you look. You are going to learn from this. You are going to apply this in the near future. And when all is said and done, in your old age, at the end of the day, you are going to be happy with where you are. This is if you are following your purpose. If you're not, I don't know. Okay. Okay, cut that out. That was the most uninspiring thing ever. Cut that out. At the end of the day, in your old age, you're going to be fine. Just hang on, persevere, try to take stuff one day at a time. Even if it has to be 1 hour at a time, that's fine. Just baby steps. And eventually you are going to get there. So don't lose hope. All right. So that is it for this story. We're going to take a quick break right now and come back with the second story of the episode. All right, so we are back with the second story of the episode, and I'm not even going to lie to you. I chose this because I think it is going to tie in with the first story. But anyways, so the title is Advice on Getting Motivated When I'm Going Through It. All right, let's jump in. Hi, y'all. I'm a 27-year-old woman, and I'm usually pretty motivated. I'm an ambitious person, and I've never really struggled to get things done. Lately, I'm going through a breakup. I was laid off from my job, and the new one I found has a significant pay cut. My finances are in the worst shape they've ever been. And parentheses, as a result of these things,
In 6 days, I am moving out of my dream city and back with my family. I feel like a deer in headlights when it comes to getting anything done at work, and I can't bring myself to do any of the hobbies I usually do. I want to do these things, and I know the practical steps I need to take to make them happen, but I'm struggling to actually turn them into action. Do you know anything about this, or do you have any tips on how to break out of it? Again, I definitely picked this because I did think it was going to tie into the first story. And it's important that in a situation like this, where you're going through the natural motions of life, I think we need to remember that this is a natural motion in life. We would like to think everything is just going to progress linearly, but in life, things take twists and turns. Sometimes you do move forward to kind of like take a detour, and we may look at it as regressing or stepping backwards, but it's not really what's happening. And I understand it can be very frustrating, especially seeing you have a pay cut, you're moving out of your dream city. You probably like was so excited to be there, and now you have to move back home with your parents. I think in a situation like this, it's good to just, again, the same advice as the previous one. Take it one step at a time. If you need to cry it out, cry it out. If you need to take a break for a second, by all means take a break. And I know in a situation like this, we might be why, especially if you're someone who is motivated and ambitious and you never really struggle to get things done, you may feel like you have to fill up your schedule to, what's it called, to feel proactive, or to feel like, what's the buzzword everyone's, to feel productive. There's a lot of productivity stuff out there now. I think in life, when stuff like this happen, and this is a common occurrence, just like I said in the previous story, this is something that's very common, and a lot of people have to go through it. If you haven't gone through it yet, good luck, but just know it's coming, and don't be warned. I think when moments like this happen, they do come to make us slow down and reevaluate what we're doing. We may look at them as regression or stepping backwards or letting life pass us by while we're just stagnant. But no, moments like this tend to happen in life to make us reevaluate what we're doing, or reevaluate where we are, or reevaluate everything. I mean, for you, you had the plans to live in this city, be in this job, and you have plans, you have the goal, you have the plans, but then life has a different situation for you. You don't know what moving back in with your parents, what doors will open by you moving back in with your parents. I think, and you might not gonna like this, okay, but I had to come to terms with it because, like I said in the previous story, and again in this one, this is such a common thing, and I had to come to terms with life throws us events like this for us to just slow down, reevaluate what we're doing. Maybe that dream job or dream city is not really in line with your purpose. So that's why events like this tend to happen in our lives. It feels like we've just been hit by something. You were on the perfect path, you were going forward, and now it's like you're broken down, you don't know what to do. But I strongly think the purpose of these events is to make us reevaluate what's going on around us. And for you, you might, right now you're seeing it as you lost your dream job, and you're out of your dream city, or you broke up with this amazing person that was goals for you. Maybe you were planning a marriage or whatever. But when stuff like this happens, it's really for us to evaluate and see what we truly cherish. How are we how is this really contributing to our purpose in life, our actual purpose, not what society is telling us we should do, but something we really want to do. I think these events happen for a reason, and that's why it happens to so many people, because we're all to a certain degree pulled toward what we ought to do, what is right for us to do. And it's not with
age and really growing up and having all these different experiences, this is why I tell you, your 22 years of exploration, go out and explore. It's not after you've gone through all the experiences that you sit down with yourself and you realize what you really like, what you don't like, and in that discovery, that's where you find your purpose. And I think events like this happen in life to make us reevaluate where we're really going. It may look like a really good thing we're going towards, but your purpose might be a completely different thing. Which is why I'm going to give you the same advice as I gave the other girl. You may feel stagnant, you may feel like life is passing you by, you may feel like you're regressing, but you just have to keep up that hope that at the end of the day, everything is going to be okay. I think you just have to remember everything is going to be okay. And I know it's naive to think that way. I know it makes no logical sense to think that way. But thinking that way is going to get you through the day-to-day basis. Make sure you accomplish small goals that make you happy and give you joy so that you don't feel like you're really losing faith. Just accomplish small goals to kind of light up that spark, light up that motivation in you. And if it's the goal of taking a walk outside today, then just try to do that. You can try and make a to-do list, but I, I would advise you to not put too many stuff in your to-do list. Make sure that it's stuff that are easily attainable, where you can get quick gratification. Even though I'm not one for quick gratification, in moments like this, I think quick gratification where we can feel good about ourselves, where we don't lose hope and just keep going forward one step at a time is what kind of gets you out of this funk. I'm not going to advise you on taking on big challenges right now. This is not the time for that, because this is the time to reevaluate what's happening around you and figuring out what you really want to do. Yes, you're moving back with your parents. And I'm sure it's devastating. You did not imagine you were ever going to move back with your parents at 27. However, you might discover something. You might find out more about yourself by moving back home. You don't know what's going to happen. That's basically what I'm trying to say is we don't know what's going to happen. Even though we make these plans to eventually accomplish them, we don't know. At the end of the day, life is unpredictable. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if this is going to happen or that's going to happen. Whenever we accomplish our goals, we may feel good about ourselves, but at the end of the day, life is unpredictable and you just have to take it one step at a time. And I know it's not very inspirational, but I think this is a realistic approach to tackling the day-to-day stuff, the real stuff, especially when we feel down. All right. So having said that, we're going to take a break right now and come back with our third story of the episode. And hopefully it's something much more joyful, because I feel like I'm kind of down. I'm sorry about that, but we'll be back. The title of the third and last story is How to Respect and Discern Boundaries in Friendship. All right. So she did not say her age, so we're just going to dive in. My female best friend sets a lot of boundaries, and I'm all for respecting and validating boundaries. But sometimes I think people use boundaries wrong, and I want your advice on what I'm to do to ensure I respect her / others in the future regarding boundaries, but also not to be a doormat and be in an unhealthy situation. All right? For instance, she set a boundary that she couldn't send me a PDF of her cover letter because she's quote-unquote too stressed and busy, and had a hard time that day, even though she had time to do a bunch of different events. Had all evening to send it, and all of the following day to take a few minutes to send it. I know when people are struggling with mental health, it's not linear or something they can't do, but I feel like she's always quote unquote going through something. And so in general, the pattern is that why can't she listen to me for advice and do a small favor like this, and etc. Sometimes, if I'm candid, I feel like she just says it's her boundary when she doesn't want to do anything out of her comfort zone,
or is too focused on herself. I then try to compromise and maintain not violating her boundary. Opened up a conversation to think about how she can protect her well-being, but also meet me in the middle of how negative an experience that was. Then she also says it's her boundary to not talk to me and denies me the chance to talk things out and resolve. With the cover letter incident, it's been 3 months, and she says, quote unquote, I can't handle talking about it. But I see her live her life happily and have plenty of time. I get needing space, but it's a long time. It's pretty hard when someone says it's their boundary because then I feel helpless / suffocated. And like I can't necessarily do anything or violate that, obviously. She admits she's pushing it off, but doesn't care, to be honest, and says it's her quote unquote boundary, so it's fine. I feel like the term boundary has been used wrong in many ways. I don't know if I'm right for feeling that way. Alright, so I just jump into the advice. I think your friend is using the term boundary to kind of get out of stuff she doesn't want to do. But I also think it's important for you to know that just because you see an aspect of someone on social media laughing, partying, or doing XYZ and 1, 2, 3, it doesn't necessarily mean they're not going through something. However, sending you a PDF or call letter is something that takes like what? A minute, 2 minutes max. She can easily do it. I don't know why she doesn't want to do it. And it does seem she's kind of avoiding and telling you it's her boundary, so she doesn't feel comfortable talking about it. It's fine giving people a time to, if they're not comfortable talking about it, it's fine to give someone time, but you need to make that time finite. It can't just be, well, it's my boundary, I feel uncomfortable, I'm not going to talk about it, and you never talk about the situation. If you never talk about the situation, then it's never going to get resolved. You should definitely give her her time. However, ask her, when is she going to be ready to talk about it? It's something that's important to you. It's something that is important to you continuing this friendship with her. If she's just going to shut you out without ever giving you an explanation or without making herself known, then you need to tell her this is a boundary for you. You like communication, you value communication in a friendship, and you obviously you like her as a friend, you appreciate her in your life, but she can't just shut you out whenever she feels like it's necessary. If she needs a certain amount of time, that's fine, you're understanding, but you two need to talk about how long is that time going to be, because you still have to talk about what happened, and you still need to come to a compromise and a solution to the problem. She can't just say, I don't feel like talking about it, it's a boundary of mine, and the thing never gets addressed. No, that's avoidant, and being avoidant can also be a boundary for other people. If you like communication, you like being open, someone avoiding you is kind of not a cool thing. Like, what? Being avoiding people can actually be abusive. I'm not saying your friend is abusive, but she is being really avoidant. Taking 3 months to send a cover letter, that is insane. However, she may be dealing with a myriad of stuff. Can you go to her place to get the cover letter? Can you two meet? What needs to happen? What can happen for you to get the cover letter and for her to not feel like it's a boundary that's being violated? You two need to talk about this. Obviously, stuff has to be communicated. If she doesn't feel comfortable doing something and it is a boundary of her, I understand. You want to respect that. However, if it's putting you in an uncomfortable situation, then she is encroaching in your boundary. And you need to be clear and state that to her. She doesn't want to talk about it. Try sending her a text or try saying something. And if she's not responsive, then you just know what to do. Like, I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. Whenever someone is encroaching in a boundary of yours, let them know at the first sign of infraction. Let them know it is a boundary of yours. And if they keep repeating that thing, then the ball is in your court. You either keep them in your life knowing they're not going to adhere to your boundary, or you cut them out. In this
in this situation, it does seem like your boundaries are being tested. And I don't know if you saw it yourself, but that's kind of how I interpret it. She needs to communicate with you. You understand she's not comfortable doing it at this time, but when is she going to be comfortable? It has been 3 months to send something that is going to take her 2 minutes, maybe 5 minutes max. I don't know, maybe she just has not done it, which is why she's saying it's a boundary of her or using that as an excuse. I don't know, but the two of you need to communicate and come to a middle ground. And if she doesn't want to talk about it, then she needs to come up with a time frame of when she's going to be able to talk about it, because this is a big issue and this is affecting your relationship, and you may not proceed in this friendship if she keeps acting this way. But yeah, just like she's saying it's her boundary of hers, tell her it's a boundary of yours to just not have people communicate and get back to you. She's encroaching in your boundaries, so you guys need to come to a middle point. All right, so that is it for this episode. I hope you like the advice and you're able to apply it to your life, especially the first and second story. I feel like those are stuff a lot of people deal with. I've dealt with it multiple times, okay? Multiple times, but it is important to just tackle each day one step at a time and try to do your best. And even if you don't finish everything on your to-do list, that is fine. Just as long as you just try as best as you can to just try to get out of that funk and not completely fall into the pit of you're not enough, everyone else is going forward, you're stepping back, you're going to be fine. Because somehow, some way, I can't tell you how, but somehow, some way, that regression ends up working for you. So you're going to be good. You're going to be fine. Just keep up hope and keep moving forward. And if you do need to take a break, you need to cry in your pillow, you just need to rest and not do much for that day, do that. But yeah, all right. So that is that. If you ever want your story to be featured on our channel, then please send us an email on our Gmail account, which is kitchentableadvice@gmail.com. We also love reading your comments, so please comment. You guys have been commenting so many sweet stuff, and I absolutely love it, and I'm so grateful. All right, thank you so much for spending your day with us, and we'll see you next week. Bye.